The member for Bennelong.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would also like to speak about Sam Stosur, somebody who I had the pleasure of working with in 2005 as the Fed Cup captain. I quickly got to know Sam very well. We went to India to compete in Fed Cup and then on to the French, to the Wimbledon and the US Open. I had some great insight into Sam and her young development because one of my great friends and fellow colleagues of the time, Jeff Masters, had been her coach. And he had told me of the time lapse between when he would arrive for his practice sessions with her after school, that she had a timetable that allowed her to arrive early. Unlike an average 14 or 15-year-old girl, Sam would practice her serve. And it was interesting to see that later in her career, in a very young career at that point, that her serve became her great weapon. And I maintained at the time that it was a reasonably modest claim that Sam had the greatest second serve in the history of women's tennis. I made other claims about Sam, and at times I was ridiculed for my overzealous support of my young player. This came on the eve of Wimbledon, after a season that had had mixed results for Sam. And while she had started the year getting to the finals in Brisbane and the finals in Sydney, but had chances to win, but at that final hurdle became a little unsure of herself, not believing or understanding the full extent of her talent. And this maybe was revisited in Birmingham, which is just a week prior to Wimbledon, when she played the defending champion, Maria Sharapova, in relatively a noisy match. And Maria had won Wimbledon the previous year at just 18 years of age and was thought to be a hot favourite again. And Sam played a most magnificent match. She lost closely, 6-4 in the third set. She served and volleyed beautifully. She displayed her athletic ability, her ability to volley. Her ability was growing to play a greater depth of tennis, not just a serve and a go for a winner. She was maturing. After this match, as you do, talk to the press, I ventured the opinion that if a young 18-year-old Sharapova can win Wimbledon, so can Sam. This was written about, and in fact Patrick Smith, who wrote that it was a silly thing for me to have said, actually wrote an apology and acknowledged that I had some foresight. There was even those within Tennis Australia who thought that I was silly at the time. I hope they think this no more, although I haven't got a letter of apology from them. But Sam has gone on to be a finalist at the French, and now, if you just consider her last triumph, which is an accumulation of many losses, and there's a saying in tennis that you only learn from your losses, and that your greatness comes from how you deal with a loss. If you learn and then go back onto the practice court, work with your coach, and practice the things that led to that loss. So you take full responsibility for that loss and you do something about it. You don't admit that you're a loser. And this has certainly been the course that Sam Stosur has chosen to engage. It's not an easy course. And there has been many great disappointments, and sometimes with great expectation. When you have losses, they are that much more difficult to handle. During the year of 2005, we had a team saying that when times got really tough and these difficult moments occurred of loss, we would ask each other what time it was, and the answer had to come back, the best time of my life. Well, after nearly beating Maria Sharapova at Birmingham, Sam was injured the next day and was unable to practice for the next 9 days prior to Wimbledon. She practiced briefly on the Saturday, she practiced a little bit on the Sunday, and she lost to a player in the first round of Wimbledon. Hence, my predictions of her possibly winning the event were seen not to be good. And to a girl who only ever once played at Wimbledon and who only once won a match. Later on in the year, at the US Open, she lost in the first round also. But a test to her character She then picked up and played in the doubles event and won the doubles event. And that not only gave her that fabulous first Grand Slam win, it also made her the #1 female doubles player in the world. If you see that path from that point of disappointment in the first round and what she has taken from the many losses and some successes to arrive on the centre court on this historic date to play Serena Williams. Now, you've got to understand the role that Serena and her sister have played in this sport. They have taken this sport from a very much an elite and white sport in the US. There has been 2 great black American players who have preceded. Althea Gibson, who was the first black American to win Wimbledon in 1956, the year that Lou Hode won, and also the great Arthur Ashe. This stadium is named after Arthur Ashe. And they were 2 players combining with Yvonne Goolagong who did so much to broaden the appeal of the game. But the Williams sisters have done something in tennis that's not been done in the men's or women's events. They played each other in 4 consecutive Grand Slam events. And this is during a time when women's tennis has gone from strength to strength, not the time when Billie Jean King and Margaret Court dominated the sport, and there might have been 2 or 3 other really great female competitors. Now there's 20 or 30. You don't know where the winners are going to come from in these Grand Slam events. And these 2 girls, Serena and Venus, have dominated the sport during an era that saw the likes of Steffi Graf play, who may have been the greatest of all time, but Serena could easily have that claim. And so for Sam to come up on this historic stadium, on this historic day, to play this player who has so dominated women's tennis and have the calm and the maturity to play the match of her life is the sum total of her career. She hasn't won Wimbledon yet, but we keep our fingers crossed. On the day that she had lost in the first round of the US Open in 2005, after the long walk from an outside court to the locker room, I asked Sam, "What time is it?" And she said, "This is not the best day of my life." I would like to reflect that the world has made a number of turns since that day and since that day of learning, and I would say that the day that she beat Serena was the best day of her life. So hearty congratulations to Sam. As much as she has done, there is much to come. She has been the beneficiary of, had great help. David Taylor, who's taken her to this new stage, should be also congratulated. But there is no doubt that Sam's best tennis is still probably yet to come, and that she has been so appreciative of the help. There is no doubt that she will contribute to the further development of the sport in Australia.
The member for Warner.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and it's a great pleasure that I rise today to follow the member for Bennelong, because I had great delight in pointing out to the member for Bennelong last week an article by Patrick Smith in The Australian on the back page, where the article was all about really those who laugh last laugh loudest, because the member for Bennelong made a call about Sam Stosur a few years ago and has been held, I think we could be fair to say, to ridicule for that statement that she would go on and win a Grand Slam. Showing great foresight, great vision, great knowledge of the game, he has proven to be correct and a great identifier and spotter of tennis talent in this country. And I congratulate him for that, because the media is a vicious game. And he was in the media. He's put himself out there by making comments in the media, which the public could see, very much like he's doing now as the member for Bennelong. But in making that call, which what I think was a very brave call, he has proven to be right. And I congratulate Sam Stosur for helping him proven to be right, because she has done incredibly well. The first female tennis player to win a Grand Slam